So getting back into the groove of things, today was the first day in a couple weeks where I didn't have to take a nap and lay my head down. And I had enough endurance to have actually even clarity of thought when I'm trying to bring some concepts together in my book. And I'll tell you, the biggest revelation is that, yeah, every single human ever since 2600 BC has been a casualty of war, of the medical holistic alchemy system. And it's ironic because, I came from the Vietnam War, became a casualty of that war, obviously, and then became a casualty of the war on humans in America, the last great experiment. America is the land of the free, home of the brave, right? And I love America. I like the opportunities afforded to me, but we're also in a wartime situation. We've been in a wartime situation for hundreds of years. Shit, America's only a couple hundred years old, right? 300 years old, give or take. 300 million people, give or take. And we've been waging war against ourselves, against other people for centuries. And so it's time to recognize that it's all in plain sight. It's right in your face. The medical hospital system is one big mash unit. The propaganda, winning the hearts and minds through Hollywood, like Chicago Hope, like Grey's Anatomy, like all the different doctor shows, to romanticize doctors, to where you voluntarily wage war on yourself, taking the antibiotics, the surgeries, all the different therapies, protection. And then you get your kids to do that to themselves as well. And then you also do it to your animals. And that's how you defeat the enemy, is you win their hearts and minds. But it must be done through generations of people. It must be romanticized, rewarded, even given accolades to, and must be very well paid too. Because people wouldn't do what they're doing if they weren't paid for it, right? And so then you realize that, yes, we all are a child of war. We all are. And the casualties get churned out daily in the medical holistic system. The casualties get churned out daily. And we're seeing the effects of the casualties of war. When someone dies in hospice, they're a casualty of the war on the humans. But that's just cancer, yeah. Cancer is preventable. If you responded to fast-moving cells, immature B cells, in a different way, you wouldn't die from cancer. You wouldn't die at all. You wouldn't die from the treatments. But people do. Why do they do it? Because they waged war on themselves. They allowed somebody to wage war on their body, mind, and spirit. When we have people are injured from all the different therapies they've taken, whether it's over-the-counter prescription or something that's done every season, that's another casualty of war. And people are maimed every day, and that's why you have the activists. But the activists don't realize that they even wage war on their own bodies when they're using the herbal remedies, when they're using the supplements, the detoxes, the pills, the powders, the heavy spices in reaction to mucus or inflammation. And so it doesn't matter if you wage war against one therapy, because you're deploying other therapies that wage war against your body and your children's body almost immediately. And so it's kind of laughable, right? That you have people who are against all the different V's and vectors, but then they're using their elderberry syrup. They're using the latest and greatest therapy herbal remedy on the market. And so then that's why the professionals out there, the professional business professionals, don't understand the activists, because they're still using other means to deploy antibiotics against their bodies in reaction to their fear of a virus. You see, it's not the virus. Viruses are nothing. They're not. They're just innovation. Viruses are innovation. They're just programming. It's how you respond to the viruses that make you voluntarily be a casualty of war. How you respond to the viruses makes you choose to be a casualty of war. When you're feeling a heart attack, a stroke, when you're feeling the symptoms of mucus, when you have become so obese or so emaciated, you become the casualty of war because you voluntarily did all the different recommendations by the business professionals making money off your bodies, and then you are now reaping the consequences of you listening to those medical holistic professionals, and then you are now enslaved. You are stuck in the system. That's what my huge hue and cry is, the fact that we have children who are being given to the medical holistic system and they don't even know that they are being enslaved at such a young age by their parents, by their guardians, by the different authority in their community. And then when they start suffering, where they can't seem to find any relief, they will never ever know that it was from all the practices when they were a baby, when they were 10, 11, 12 years old. And when they finally do come to know it, the people they will go and try to hold accountable won't be around anymore, are elderly, or someone they love so much they don't have the heart to hold their mom and dad accountable for all of the medical procedures done on them when they didn't have a voice of their own. That's why I weep for the children, because they don't have a voice. I didn't have a voice for many years. I had to develop my own voice. And even then, people were knocking me off my little fucking pedestal, which I understood. Maybe sometimes my pedestal was a little bit boisterous. But I have to be a voice for those that don't have the voice, that don't even know they don't have the voice, because they are being stifled by the medical holistic system, by their parents, by their friends, by their family. And so somebody has to be a voice for those that don't have a voice at all. And that's what I want to see in my JJ crowd when they finally sit with the pain. Because the pain will change you. The pain will make you see life in such a different way. See how I know someone has really figured out the JJ mentality? When I don't barely even recognize what they even say, when I don't even recognize who they are as far as what they say on Facebook. They're coming across so differently on Facebook. But no, I see people who still have the same mentality, still doing little memes and all their little, whatever shit. Same way they respond to everything. Nothing is new in their world because they haven't experienced anything new. You know why? Because they're cured. They haven't figured out the pain. They haven't given themselves up to life and let life give them life. No, they're cured. So there's nothing for them to offer. They have nothing else to offer. Let me tell you, when you finally sit and relax for a minute and you deal with whatever viruses that are coming through, you'll have a whole lot to say and then some. And you might even have better ideas for your job, newer ideas, more innovative ideas for whatever occupation you're in. You might even have a new thought process because something shifted in your psyche. There's a lot of magic in dealing with the pain. A lot of magic. And so when I kind of realized that we all are children of war, and now those who have waged war on our bodies, who have taught our children to wage war on their bodies, now they're tired of what they have created, what they have developed. And so now they have deployed many psychological campaigns, and the people that deployed them either have died or have passed the baton to the next generation of collective architect drivers of our system. And so there's no one to pinpoint to blame when you think about it. Now you have to recognize the war that has been waged upon you. You have to recognize what your parents have done to you. And you can't get mad at them because they didn't know any better. But now you know better, and now you can change and redirect the course of your life. That's the thing is it's not to really demonize your parents and the medical people, because they don't know any better. And even if they did know any better, they're so painted into a hole financially that they can't afford to fucking say, okay, I give up. So they're going to stay with what they're doing and make money off it until they pass away. But you, now that you know this, now you have a chance to be that one person that not only will be the example, but then you will have a shift in your focus. And this is how the future and history gets written. It's by the people who are driving the narrative. But you have to be able to experience the new narrative. You have to have some kind of innovative thought process. And no, it's not looping in the same shit that you've been doing for the last 20 years. When you feel the pain, it will redirect almost everything that you've ever known. So you can see that I'm getting better. You can see that I'm getting my energy back. Because I'm telling you, I haven't had the energy to talk like this in a while, because I have been dealing with my own demons. But it is now giving me a different outlook on writing my book, writing my background. And again, it is ironic that I claim that we're all children of war, with war being waged upon us through the medical holistic system and their protocols, and then also coming from the Vietnam War. And so it takes one casualty of war to know casualties of war. But I had to find a way to say it. Well, thank God for the pain that I was just in, because that clinched everything together. When you have the medical system with the order of operations from the nursery all the way to the morgue, that is a MASH unit. That is a unit. That is a mobile Army hospital unit with your surgeons, your nurses, your doctors, your GSA professionals to go and account for every single piece of machinery used. You have your billing system, and then you commodify all the casualties of that fucking war. That's what the medical hospital system is. It's a mobile MASH unit, and it's set strategically in communities that have war waged upon them through the herbal remedies, through all the different immunotherapies, through all the different voluntary surgeries. I'm not even including the triage. If you get into a car accident and you have shrapnel in the side of your leg from the car, yeah, you need someone to go and dig it out and then sew you back up. Local triage. And then they send your ass home. No, we people voluntarily going under the knife for cosmetic reasons, for vanity reasons, because they're not willing to take in the salt and deal with the pain of releasing the fat in a different way, so they have to shortcut it. Oh yeah, we have people who have voluntarily put themselves as a casualty of war. And so it's, I don't know, man. When you finally see things for what they are, I'm going to turn the light on. When you finally see things for what they are, how can you not point it out? How can you not say, holy shit, we're in the middle of a war. We've been at war with humans for such a long time, and we've taught our children to self-destruct. We've taught our friends and family to self-destruct. And now we're seeing so much suffering. I mean, watching my friends on Facebook who've watched people died in front of them, who will also follow along suit because they have no other choice. They don't think they have any other choices except to do the same thing that the person who died did, but in a different way. Not everybody has the same diseases and the same shortcomings, same biological shortcomings. And so no, they'll do the same, they'll deploy the same medications, they'll deploy the same surgeries, the same reactions to cancer, disease, and chronic illness. And then they're like, well, I don't know what they're like. I don't know how they will justify it somehow. But remember, that justification, the death program, is built into the politics, religion, and the scientific dogmas. That's the war that's waged upon people, is when they have the death programming already programmed into their life, into their body, into their mind, in their spirit. And then they take people down with them too. That's what makes me so mad, is that I watch people take other people down with them. And so I have my own struggles, because I want my husband to deal with every single virus that comes through. I don't want him taking fucking NyQuil. But I understand he also was working, but that was recommended by somebody in his world. Take some NyQuil. The fact that he only took NyQuil one night may have bought him more time. But if he would have taken NyQuil throughout the whole time, that would have taken years off his life, if it hasn't taken years off his life already. Just even doing that one. So I'm up against a lot with my own husband and the influences that he's under. And I want him to survive. I know he has the strength to survive these viruses. I know he does. He just has to stop listening to everyone around him and take the time off when he needs to and deal with this sickness without turning to over-the-counter drugs and any other kind of means. But yeah, it's hard not to point out the war waged on humans. It's hard to watch people self-destruct. It's hard to be so logical in an illogical world. That's the suffering of those on the JJ meta mentality, is that we see now the logic of what's going on, and we're watching everyone going over the cliff. And as much as you want to say something, you do say something, but you know it's going on deaf ears. Until something happens. Until whatever I'm speaking actually then comes into reality in their world. And the connection of what I'm saying and what's going on in their world is that connected, that then either they do change the way they do things, or they give up and say, fuck it. I don't know, man. When you finally wake up to the reality of the world you actually live in, it's grim. It's very grim. So, it will take a strong person to understand the JJ meta. And to not only save yourself, but then have to watch other people around you go over the cliff. That's what's going to be the hardest for those on the JJ meta who actually understand it and take it seriously. This is not a trendy thing. This is not some kind of like lifestyle of the awoke. No, this is deeper than what most people can even fathom, because most people haven't even felt the pain. And if they did feel the pain, they were taking something for it. So when this lady today, she was saying that she had twice in her life where she couldn't walk. And I know that when that would happen, I know she was deploying whatever remedies that were available at the time. I don't know what they were. But nobody doesn't take something if they can't walk. Oh, believe me, people, if they feel like they're so sick where they can't walk, they're taking something for it. And so I know this person's gonna have to deal with that again. Are they prepared for it? That's what people have to understand, is whatever you dealt with in your childhood, in your adulthood, and you know you've taken things for whatever issues you had in the past, you're going to have to revisit them again. And it might be stronger, it might be weaker the next time around you deal with it. It's hard to say. And so I don't think people are prepared to deal with that kind of depth of revisiting the past. They think, oh, because you dealt with it a couple years ago, you think you're never going to see it again. No, because you were taking something from it, for it, and then you got cured, but it's still lurking. That disability, whatever it is still lurking. It's going to come up again. And are you mentally and physically and financially prepared for that? Because if you don't deal with it again, and then you do feel it again, and you're taking something for it to stop it again, the monster and the disability will become stronger and stronger. And eventually you will have to then deal with that monster. And you may not come back from it. That's what people don't understand, is that they have to deal with everything head on so it doesn't become worse. And I thought that the pneumonia that I had back when I was a kid, and after I forgot, I didn't even remember having, but it was when I was a baby. But it came to bite me in the ass when I was in kindergarten, but I didn't know it was probably the pneumonia. Again, they thought it was a concussion. No, it was the pneumonia. It came back. But it came back in a different way. And so people are going to forget what they've suffered through. So these kids that were in the hospital for months and months and months and days because they were preemies or they had other issues and they want to become a whole person, they're in for a world of pain. That's why parents, you have to become whole people before you have kids, so you give your kids half a fucking chance. If not, then you have enslaved them into the medical holistic system, and they will suffer. And you just hope they don't suffer too much. But now it's out of your control. All right, I'm going to go, but I have to sleep on that we are all children of war. The medical holistic system has waged war on all bodies, minds, and spirits of every single human all over the world. And the MASH units are all the hospital medical systems taking in the casualties of the war. All cancer, disease, chronic illness, autoimmune disorders, obesity, emaciation, every single condition is a casualty of the war that you're in. And many will not survive. Many don't. Actually, many don't. Just look at the morgue. Look at how many obituaries you're reading on your Facebook. That ought to tell you the kind of war that you're in. Bye.